11 through 12. So first in Luke he says
Well,
everyone,
hold on. Yeah. So
everyone
sorry. So you said,
who
hold on.
divorced. Yes, go ahead.
You said Luke 16:18. Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and whoever marries her who is divorced from her husband commits right. Okay, but where does it say right there in that verse? By the way, you can't get married again.
Well, I'd say it says it right there in what we read. He says it again in Mark 10, 11 through 12.
Well, no, I'm asking a specific question. I'm asking in Luke 16:18. I don't see the word remarriage or married again. So where are you getting that from in that verse? I don't understand.
It's
Okay,
just from
so
the
if
latter
I
part.
may, like, because again, the whole reason why I wanted to bring all of us together
Yeah,
was I don't want us to make the same mistake the Protestants make, right? Which is just trying to interpret scripture on our own. The whole
right.
idea is to just
Yeah,
is rely upon the teachings of the fathers. And so, if we were to take a look at quotes concerning the topic of remarriage by the fathers,
uh,
it's super clear that there is no allowance for remarriage. In fact, even if a priest is married and his wife dies, he is not permitted to remarry. But of course, a layman would be permitted to remarry in the instance that his wife passes away. But they all there was no advocate for remarriage in by the quote unquote early church fathers, the pre-Nicene fathers.
well, you have to understand the Orthodox Christian position is that we're not just looking at the pre-Nicene fathers. You guys seem very fixated on them, and that's fine. That's your position, that's your purview. But we don't just limit ourselves to just what happened before 325 or whatever date you
So
want to affix
no,
to it, right? So, out of interest, have any of you happened to have seen the channel Ubi Petrus and seen his video
No,
on divorce and remarriage in the Orthodox Church?
no.
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
I
so
recommend reviewing that. And the reason why is because Ubi put that video together, right, to be utilized in apologetics specifically against the Catholic position, because the Catholics, as you may or may not know, like to give everybody a hard time regarding the divorce topic, but they don't even know their own shared history with us in the first 1,000 years of the church, in which remarriage was allowed. In fact, it was allowed up to 3 times. In other words, you could be married initially and then potentially have a second or third marriage, but nothing beyond that. In fact, humorously, the reason you can't have a marriage past the third one is because there was an emperor who wanted to be married a fourth time. And I can't remember if it was a patriarch or archbishop that was kind of in his realm, his jurisdiction, right, his diocese, that was trying to push for that. And the church said, no, 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 no. Three is the max. You can't go beyond that. So
I
I'd
didn't know
recommend
that.
checking out that video when you have time.
right. So I guess the
Yeah.
whole
And by the way, can I just make a real
logical,
quick comment on remarriage?
sure, but
It's
all right.
real quick.
If I
It's
if
real
I
quick. It's
if
real
all
quick. I
right,
promise.
go ahead, go
The,
ahead.
re- the reason the reason remarriage is allowed in the church is because it's for the spiritual benefit and towards the salvation of the victim in the marriage that was dissolved. Right. So the wife comes home, finds her husband in bed with another woman. The man comes home, finds his wife in bed with another man. Right. That's grounds for divorce, and they themselves are the victim of the adultery. Right. And so, if they can't, as St. Paul says, remain celibate, if they're afraid that they will fall into fornication, then it is better for them to remarry. And especially if there's young children in the picture, I might add too, right? It's important for Orthodox children to have two parents in the household. They need a mother and a father, right? A husband and wife working together to help the children towards their salvation as well, right? So remarriage is allowed for the spiritual benefit of the offended spouse and ultimately foreign towards their salvation. Everything in the Orthodox Church is trying to help you just stay on that constant path of seeking after your salvation through fear and trembling, right? That's all I wanted to say just regarding like why we allow remarriage.
No, I look, I mean, my own parents are divorced and remarried, and I have a lot of like sympathy, empathy.
Yeah,
No, I don't look at it as if like I don't look down upon people who are divorced or remarried. I
yeah,
get it. I understand that argument. It it makes sense, But however, it seems as if it's a shifting of the goalpost. So for instance, it's like a lowering the bar so that more people can get over the bar. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
That's
if
that.
if
I
the
I
church
I
says,
get it. I get it.
wait,
But I
bro, if
mean,
you
yeah,
don't, if
yeah.
you allow me to finish my statement,
No, yeah. You go ahead.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the church says, hey, look, you only get one marriage, your spouse is still alive, and so you cannot get remarried. We know that there are going to be people who, just like when Jesus said, you have to eat of my flesh, drink of my blood, they turned away because it was a hard saying. Jesus didn't say, all right, well, all right, maybe you don't got to do all that. You know, he stood on business. And so if the
Right.
church was to stand on business where this is concerned, there'd be a lot less Christians, essentially. And so it would seem as
Yeah.
if,
I understand what you're saying.
right, that's what it seems to be going on here. And as
Yeah.
for it's not as if we're like fixated on the early church for the sake of just like it's an arbitrary period of time that we just have romanticized. It's just that we're seeing positions flip as time progresses. Like how can we trust? It's like we just do whatever you want then, because if at one point, if you, no
Well,
matter what church you went to, all the priests were going to tell you you can only have one marriage, and how many people, you know, left the faith for that or didn't want to join because of that. If only they were born 500 years later, the church would have completely changed its position, it would seem.
I would say on the topic of divorce and remarriage, definitely check out the Ubi Petrus video, because Ubi does go through the texts and he provides lots and lots of church father citations. So I would highly recommend checking that out.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. And these are
Yeah.
going to be
And
early quotes, or are they going to be?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
I would just say go through and check. I think there's stuff in there from St. Augustine. I think there's stuff in there from St. John Chrysostom. And I'm trying to think if anybody else pops into my mind.
Here, I'll
But anyway,
type it into my YouTube just so I can have it bookmarked.
Yeah. And he puts the stuff on the screen too. You know, so he's got everything highlighted and quotes and stuff and up on the screen too. So you can even just kind of slide through there, you know, and look around for the
UBI.
Yeah, UBI Petrus. Yeah, I put it in the sidebar chat here.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. But yeah, so the whole reason, you know, I asked Nick to put this together was specifically to address the fact that things seem to be shifting,